What's up, family? Welcome back to another video. As always, I like to preface the conversation by adding some context before we actually get into the conversation and I present the clip. So, with that being said, what happens when an immigrant who lived the American dream, rising from nothing to become a global icon and even a governor of California, sits down on national television and tells the uncomfortable truth? Arnold Schwarzenegger, one of the most successful immigrants in American history, didn't hold back during a recent appearance on The View, which was a day ago. In a political climate where truth is often blurred by ideology, we can say, and Arnold dropped a bold, unapologetic statement saying you have to do things legal, right? Simple, direct, and deeply controversial, at least to some. But why did this moment cause such tension? Why did Sonny Houston try to cut him off mid sentence? And what does it say about where we are as a country when even a proud immigrant gets pushed back for showing love and respect to America? In this video, we're breaking down everything that happens in the segment, Arnold's powerful words, the awkward reactions from the View panel, and a bigger conversation around immigration, national identity, and what it really means to earn your place in America. We'll explore why this moment resonated with so many people, how it exposed cracks in mainstream narratives, and what it means when someone who benefited from America becomes one of its strongest defenders. So buckle up because we're about to dive into a conversation that a lot of people are afraid to have, baby. But it needs to happen because dialogue, all dialogue, and even dialogue that tells bold truth about a person and what who they really are shows who they are and you know what you're dealing with, right? So, with no further ado, let's check out the clip.
Yeah. But you were governor already.
I was.
Yeah, you can't do it again.
I was. I'm not governor anymore.
But you are. But you know, as an immigrant yourself, you are an immigrant. You're an immigrant in this country. Yeah. Did you have a visceral reaction to what they're doing, what ICE is doing, when you see the videos of it?
Well, I tell you, you said that the immigrant. I'm so proud and happy that I was embraced by the American people like that. I mean, imagine I came over here with the age of 21, with absolutely nothing. And then to create a career like that. I mean, in no other country in the world could you do that. Yeah. Every single thing, if it's my bodybuilding career, if it's my acting career, becoming governor, the beautiful family that I've created, all of this is because of America.
That's true.
And so this is why I'm so happy to see firsthand that this is the greatest country in the world, and this is the land of opportunity. And I think because I'm such a proud American and a proud immigrant that came to America, I was asked to do, on July 4th, a big speech, the keynote speech at Mount Vernon, where George Washington was laid to rest, and where he lived and all that, to celebrate the 250th anniversary of America, the existence of America. And I will be doing the speech there. They asked me because I'm an immigrant, and there will be 7,000 some people there, and there will be people that will be sworn in and will become citizens that day.
That's great.
So it's really a great celebration. And this is what this is all about, is to celebrate people becoming Americans and coming to America and all that. And so I just think the world of the great kind of a history that we have with immigrants in America. But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, you know. So you got to do things legal, and those people that are doing.
You guys heard that, right? Do I got to rewind it a little bit?
America, but the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, you know. So you got to do things legal, and those people that are doing illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest, and you have to behave like a guest. Like when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can to keep things clean and to make my bed and to do everything that is the right thing to do.
Why is she touching him?
Rather than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that. So that doesn't really work in this country. So I think the important thing is when you become an immigrant, to think about, okay, I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back. You have a responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America and to pay back to America and to go and do something for your community for no money whatsoever. Give something back to after-school programs, Special Olympics, or whatever it is. Make this country a better place.
Arnold, don't forget, there's 90% of the people who come here are trying to do the right thing.
They're less likely to commit crimes.
And a lot of what's happening right now is people are getting snatched who shouldn't be snatched out of the country, people who have visas, people who have all those things. So we want all the right people. We don't want people who are doing bad stuff.
But they are less likely, immigrants are much less likely to commit crimes in this country than
Right.
actually American-born citizens. And the other thing I just wanted to say is that Governor Newsom did not ask for the National Guard to come to, the federal government to come to California. There are 9,000 local law enforcement officers in California. Did he really?
Everybody has to follow the law.
I mean, look, this is a whole other issue because remember, the National Guard is under the governor's supervision.
That's right.
Yeah.
But, like for instance, when the National Guard was sent to Iraq during the Iraqi War, I was not the one that said, "Oh yeah, go to Iraq." The Bush administration came and said, "We need those people."
They came to you.
They came to us, and we need the resources, we need the equipment,
Yeah.
we need the weapons, we need the vehicles to ship to Iraq,
Yeah.
and then they ship
It's the
to Iraq.
coordination.
So
It's the
that's why I
coordination.
say it is very important that we work together.
Yes.
It doesn't matter who is asking whom. The bottom line is we work together in order to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can't just go in and do stuff. We all got to do it together like
Together,
this.
exactly.
Oh, interesting.
Ideology.
Okay. So, with that being said, family, because they clipped it because he was saying the truth and they didn't like that he was off script. And the simple fact is, you see how Sonny Houston tried to move the goalposts and talk about, oh, Americans are prone to do more crimes than immigrants, illegal immigrants at that. Let's specify that. But then also Whoopi Goldberg going to say they are trying to do the right thing. You cannot try to do the right thing if you're disrespectfully coming to a country and you're illegal. It just doesn't make no sense. So when Arnold Schwarzenegger speaks about immigration, he's not just offering an opinion, he's speaking from lived experience. He's not an analyst sitting in a think tank or a career politician playing party lines. He's someone who earned his place in this country the hard way. Born in Darwin, Australia, Arnold arrived in the United States in 1968 at just 21 years old. You guys heard him say 21 years old. He didn't speak English. He didn't speak fluent English, at least is that. He didn't come from money. He had no family connections. What he had was ambition, a relentless work ethic, and a deep belief in the American dream. And America delivered. Arnold didn't just build a life here, he built an empire. He became a 7-time Mr. Olympia champion and revolutionized bodybuilding. He became a Hollywood megastar despite his thick accent, something industry experts told him would end his career before it started. And then, defying all odds, he was elected as the Republican governor of California, one of the most liberal states in the country. His success is the kind of story we used to celebrate. An immigrant who loves this country so much, he gave back at every level, from pop culture to public service. So when Arnold says this is the greatest country in the world, he means it. He's lived it, and he's living in it. And he's a real world example of what's possible when opportunity meets hard work. All right. But that's exactly why his words carry so much weight in this conversation, and why I'm having a conversation with you guys. And why some people on the panel looked uncomfortable, as you seen with Whoopi Goldberg, Sonny Houston, because Arnold isn't just defending America in theory. He's defending it all from a place of gratitude, and gratitude is powerful because it cuts through cynicism. Synonym. There we go. It reminds people what's still good about this country. That's what makes his statement so impactful and so threatening to those who profit off of a narrative that says America is broken beyond repair. And Arnold didn't come to America expecting handouts. He came here to build something, and he did. So when he talks about doing things legally, about giving back, and about acting like a guest in someone else's home, it's not judgment, it's principle, it's experience. He's earned the right to speak. And whether you agree or disagree with him, you can't deny the legitimacy of the path he walked, right? That's why I believe that it's more credible when someone is talking from experience and something they actually been through, because obviously if they've been through it, they have more value than someone just talking a whole bunch of fluff but never really lived it or been through it. So how can you be a credible source? Now, when Arnold Schwarzenegger appeared on The View, the conversation took a turn because the host clearly wasn't expecting what he said to be said, and it started with a seemingly innocent question, right? An emotional setup referencing immigration and recent video footage from the border. The host leaned in saying, "Oh, you're an immigrant. What do you think about everything that's happening?" But instead of echoing and expecting outrage or softening his position, Arnold leaned in with calm conviction and said plainly, "You have to do things legal." I mean, how can you disagree with that? You have to do things legal. And this comes from an individual who have done something, well, who have done everything and done things legal. So it goes to my point. How is it fair to those who have took the legal right and done things the right way out of respect for America? But let that sink in. In just 6 words, he disrupted the carefully framed narrative that immigration is just about empathy and emotion. He brought the conversation back to something deeply important: respect for the law. Okay, folks? Arnold acknowledged how blessed he felt to be welcomed by America, but he didn't stop there. He called out the responsibility that comes with that privilege. He said, "When I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, I do everything I can to keep things clean, and make my bed and do the right thing." Because how I was raised is, you got the opportunity to be blessed with someone, blessed in someone's presence, also blessed with someone else things, being able to stay in their house and being able to use their items within their home, like a bed. So out of respect, the most you can do is be clean. Keep the cleanliness up, right? It shows appreciation. It shows respect. It shows gratitude. It shows that the opportunity what someone gave you, whether that's putting food in your mouth or a bed to sleep on, you didn't take for granted at all. And it was a metaphor, simple, powerful, and hard to argue with because it cuts to the heart of the matter. Being a guest comes with responsibilities. This wasn't a politician trying to score points. This was someone who understands the value of being invited into a home you didn't build. He didn't say immigrants don't belong. He said the opposite. You belong if you respect the house. It also reminds me of, as a child, right? Your parents have dominion over you. They determine what foods get put on the table as they work hard to put food on the table so you can then have food in your mouth because you can't go get it because you just a child. Right? That famous saying, that famous line what I was told growing up, you a child, you stay in the child's place. Be a kid. Don't try to be something bigger than what you are. Be a kid and enjoy being a kid while you are a kid. Right? So out of respect for my parents, I had manners, I had gratitude. I said my grace. I was grateful that food was put on the table because I knew there was individuals out there who didn't have food. I had friends who may have not had much food as me or wasn't much privilege as me, as my parents worked hard to give me the extra things they needed, they wanted to give me, not needed, because all I needed was clothes, food, a bed, and a roof over my head. The essentials, right? As a child. So I say all that to say he didn't just paint his journey as lucky or just luck or charity. He emphasized the importance of giving back, not just economically, but through service, civic duty, and gratitude. He said, quote unquote, if I get all these things from America, then I have to give something back. He called on immigrants to contribute through volunteering, mentoring, or participating in the community, building efforts like Special Olympics. In Arnold's eyes, citizenship isn't just a status, it's a contract, a two-way relationship between an individual and the country. And maybe that's why his words struck such a nerve, because in today's discourse, patriotism from an immigrant isn't always celebrated. Sometimes it's viewed with suspicion, especially if it doesn't come with the right political tone, if that makes sense. But Arnold didn't flinch. He didn't cave to expectations. He delivered a message rooted in truth, experience that he lived in, and deep respect. And in doing so, he reminded a national audience that love for your adopted country is not weakness, it's strength, right? And as soon as Arnold began delivering his heartfelt, unfiltered message, you can feel the energy in the room shift. Because as soon as he was doing it, here goes Sidney Houston, touching that man's arm. What are you touching his arm for, miss? Excuse me, where's your respect? As he's giving a heartfelt message that and telling his experience and what he lived through. Right? The crowd was listening. The hosts were bracing because Arnold wasn't just promoting a movie. He was promoting personal accountability, lawful immigration, and love for America, all wrapped in calm, unapologetic delivery. That's when the interruption started. Once you start hearing some uh, um, uh, you saw Sonny Houston. They wanted to talk so bad to interrupt his stance, to interrupt his point and his appreciation and his gratitude and his respect. Sonny Houston in particular, she seemed noticeably unsettled. The first thing anybody will point out, I pointed it out. I seen it. That's what I said. Why she touching him? She tried more than once to steer the conversation in a different direction. At one point, you could literally see her reaching out to physically tap Arnold, trying to guide him back to the panel's preferred narrative. It was subtle, but not subtle enough to miss. This wasn't a debate about facts. It was about narrative control. And Arnold was going off script, and that wasn't part of their plan. Simple as that. He wasn't attacking anyone. He wasn't being aggressive. So you know the difference because you're like, oh, Arnold, that's such a great, amazing, inspiring story, you know. And out of respect for our country, America, we thank you. It wasn't that type of tap. It was a tap like, we need you to stop. Because as soon as he finished, she changed the narrative. She tried to change the conversation, like I said. And he was just speaking with clarity, not aggression, not attacking anyone. And that was enough to cause visible discomfort. Because when someone with his lived experience speaks plainly, you can't just label it as hate. You have to confront the argument itself. And for many on the panel, that was clearly a problem. They tried to reframe what he said. One of the hosts jumped in to say that 90%, which was Sonny Houston hosting, 90% of immigrants are trying to, no, that was Whoopi Goldberg. 90% of the immigrants are trying to do the right thing. Arnold's face said it all. Disappointment, frustration, not because he disagreed with the goodness of immigrants, but because the point was missed entirely. And you can't make someone understand what they don't want to understand. You have to discard the trash and go in the ones that's going in the direction you're going in, the righteous way, the right way. Trying to do the right thing isn't the same thing as doing it. You could try all day. You could try to sit in a chair. That doesn't mean you're gonna sit. You actually sitting is you doing it, right? So Arnold wasn't condemning immigrants. He was saying, if you want to be part of this country, really part of it, then you need to go and come in the right way and you need to contribute the right way. It's a simple standard, one that most American, regardless of background, instinctively agree with. But on The View, nuance often gets sacrificed for applause lines. And Arnold, he wasn't playing the game. He stayed focused. He reiterated his stance. He made his case with polls. And the more the panel tried to redirect, the more it became clear they weren't ready for someone who didn't need their approval. Arnold didn't just push back on the narrative. He did it with some calm confidence that they couldn't label him as angry or ignorant. They couldn't label him angry or ignorant because he wasn't easily dismissed, and that made his presence all the more disruptive in the best possible way. Because in media landscape dominated by emotion and division, Arnold brought something that was rare, perspective, and it caught them off guard. So when you cut through the tension in the political theater, what Arnold Schwarzenegger actually said wasn't controversial, it was common sense. But in today's polarized media environment, common sense can be radical. Here's the heart of Arnold's message, script of reactions and, and interruptions. If you come to America, you should do it legally. If America gives you opportunities, you have a moral obligation to give back. And if you're a guest in someone's home, in this case a nation, you should act with respect, humility, and responsibility. That's it. He didn't say close the borders. He didn't say immigrants are a problem. In fact, he praised the country for welcoming him, and he praised immigrants who are doing the right thing. But he drew a firm line between legal immigration and illegal entry, and he reminded everyone that love for this country should include respect for its laws. Let's be clear. Arnold didn't get up and recite policy statistics or shout over anyone. He delivered a quiet rebuke, not just to the legal immigration system, but to the way we talk about it. Because so much of the immigration debate today is driven by emotion. We hear about families, trauma, asylum, poverty, and all of that matters. But what often gets lost is structure, law, responsibility. Arnold brought that back into the conversation. His message wasn't anti immigrant, it was pro citizenship, and there's a big difference. And he reminded people that America is not just a place you live, it's a country you join, a country you serve, a country you help build. And that part of the conversation doesn't always make headlines. It's not the kind of soundbite that gets shared on viral clips, unless it sparks backlash, but it's the most important part. Because the long term strength of America doesn't come from who gets in. It comes from what those people do once they're here, or those individuals do once they're here. So he emphasized volunteering, giving back to the neighborhood, joining after school programs, to Special Olympics, contributing without being asked. That's patriotism. The kind that's earned, not demanded, and that message, it still matters. So on one side, you got people like Arnold who see America as the greatest country on earth, a land of opportunity, a place worth protecting and respecting and giving back to. Those people, whether born here or not, believe citizenship is an honor and not an entitlement. On the other side, you have a growing segment of media and cultural influencers who view patriotism with suspicion. To them, showing pride in America feels outdated, even offensive, and they treat the country not as something to celebrate, but something to constantly critique. And this is where the clash becomes visible because when Arnold spoke with genuine appreciation for America and stressed the importance of law and contribution, he didn't fit the script. The View and its platforms like it are built around narratives of grievance, oppression, and system failure, but Arnold is the living, breathing counterpoint to that story. And here's the proof that the system, for all its flaws, can work. And that's a message many in the media aren't equipped to handle. The tension is especially intense when the person delivering the message is an immigrant, because mainstream media often treats immigrants as automatic victims, people in need of help, not capable of personal accountability. So when someone like Arnold flips the script and say, nah, 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 I was embraced by this country, I built something, I owe something back, it doesn't just challenge their politics, it challenges their entire worldview. And then that's basically what it is in a nutshell, right? So let's ask the hard question. Is Arnold Schwarzenegger right? Let me know in the comments. Is it fair to demand that immigrants not only come to America legally, but also give something back in return? Let me know in the comments. To answer that, we have to separate the emotion from the facts, though, and compare America's expectation with how immigration works in other developed countries. Let's take Canada, for example. If you want to immigrate there, you're required to meet strict eligibility criteria, minimum language skills, work experience, and a clean criminal record, and often a certain amount of money saved up. Why? Because they expect newcomers to contribute economically from day one. Australia has a point based immigration system that rewards education, job skills, and financial independence. If you're not likely to benefit their economy, your chances of getting in are slim. And if you commit a crime, you're out fast. Ditto. Meanwhile, in the United States, while there is a legal immigration process, it's often overshadowed by a massive number of people crossing the border illegally, and sometimes with no identification, no vetting, and no guarantee of contribution. That's not a political statement. That's a security and sustainability issue. And what Arno is advocating for, following the law, contributing to society, respecting the country, is not extreme. It's in fact it's standard operating procedure in most parts of the world. But in the US, the conversation has been hijacked by ideological extremes. And you're either labeled as heartless if you want structure or naive if you support open borders. But Arnold offers a third lane. Earn your place, give back, and be proud where you are. And really, why shouldn't we expect contribution in exchange for opportunity? America offers more freedom economic potential, and social mobility than almost anywhere on earth. Doesn't it make sense that we want to protect and sustain that by setting clear expectations? Because if you look at Arnold's viewpoint, he touched on a point that rarely gets discussed: the global double standard. In many countries, you can't just show up and expect citizenship. You have to prove yourself first with finances, background checks, and employment. But America, too often, we act like even asking for those things is unfair. That's not compassion, that's chaos. It's not an anti immigrant to say we need order. It's not anti immigrant to say we need order. It's pro citizenship. It's pro immigrant when done right. Because the immigrants who come legally, work hard, and embrace the country they now call home, they are the ones hurt most by an open door, no rules approach. So, yes, Arnold's right. It's not an unreasonable act to say, if you want to come to the greatest country on earth, do it the right way. And once you're here, give something back, not just for your sake, but for the sake of the country you now call home. That's not cruelty. That's just civic responsibility. I mean, even Americans, those who are born in this country and are naturally American and, you know, are not an immigrant, we have a civic responsibility, right? Because to be honest, if we're not productive individuals in our community, we're not investing in ourselves to be a valuable asset in our communities, we're doing America and our communities a disservice as well. So it's not just for immigrants, it's for all people in America, right? Because we got to work together, as you heard in the clip. And Arnold's message didn't just resonate in the studio, it echoed across the internet. Clips of his comments spread it fast, not because they were controversial in substance, but because they were rare in tone. A prominent public figure, immigrant no less, showing open love for America, calling for legal immigration, and stressing personal responsibility. That's not something you hear every day on mainstream television, and the public took notice. So, but no further ado, family. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, got some value from this video. Spread that peace, love, and positivity. Let the love supersede the hate, and I'll catch you in the next one. But I do agree with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Round of applause for him. Shout out to him for, having a conversation, a productive dialogue that needs to be spoke about, and also operated in unity and peace and love. On that note, family, peace.